conference for researchers and industrialists. I am pleased to welcome our Honorable Chairman, sir. I am pleased to welcome all the dignitaries who are delivering keynote speeches. I am extremely happy to welcome the authors of the paper, the session chairs of the various sessions, and I also thank the various committee members, technical committee, advisory committee, and all those who are directly and indirectly involved for the success of this conference. The International Conference on Technical Science and Engineering and Management is covering all the topics related to engineering. It is interdisciplinary in nature, and since the technology today is interdisciplinary, we have opted for giving the opportunity to all the researchers to be interdisciplinary, and at the same time they can focus on engineering in general instead of one particular topic. So in addition to one particular topic like electrical engineering or mechanical engineering or civil engineering or science or technology, one should have a depth towards another field or another discipline. In that view, we have organized this conference. Another aim of this conference is to encourage and offer a platform to the researcher to interact with the dignitaries who are stalwarts in the field of engineering and delivering their keynote speeches in this conference. So through them, we can enrich our knowledge and utilize this knowledge for industry in general and society in particular. So for the benefit of the society, your technical knowledge should be utilized. That is the ultimate aim of this conference. And this conference offers a 2-day interaction platform for discussion and enriching your knowledge and sharing your knowledge to all. I once again thank the organizing members of the committee, Dr. Bharat Chede sir, convener, our vice principal sir, Ajay Tinguria, Professor Ajay Tinguria sir, Dr. Deshpande sir of Civil Engineering, Dr. Hiwarkar sir from Computer Science Engineering, and from head of the Department of the Mechanical Engineering and Management also. This platform, this conference is going to be a very successful conference and useful conference. That is my wishes, and I am sure that it will materialize. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Bharat Chede, sir, to please share the message of conference with us. Thank you.
Very good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, definitely. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Very good morning, everyone. Very warm welcome to you all in the conference, international conference at Wainganga College of Engineering and Management. Also, I take the opportunity to be a convener of this conference from the college side, and IFERP, who had supported this conference, and for that we have worked hard for almost 6 months to make this conference a success. This conference is going to open the door for all new researchers who want to publish their paper at different levels. Although the selected paper will be there in a Scopus journal, UGC journals, and Google Scholar. The opportunity has been taken wholeheartedly by the college students, faculties, and researchers from all over India and abroad. And I also am very thankful to IFERP for arranging the keynote speaker from all over the world. Although the timing are such that according to their suitability, we have scheduled a timing of keynote speaker in the late evening hours, that is from 4:30 onward. But this conference, nonetheless, we are going to have a very good session with all the researchers. Almost we are going to have around 70-80 papers in a day session, and we'll have a parallel sessions running for mechanical, computer science, management, electronics and electrical engineering. So we are going to start. Sorry for the technical interruption. So about the college, which I am going to share a screen. Regarding that, I am going to share a presentation. This is our college, Wainganga College of Engineering and Management, which was been the dream of our Honorable Chairman, Dr. Brahmanand Karanjekar. Our Society of Wainganga Bahuuddeshya Vikas Sanstha, which was established in a late back in 1991. We run the courses from KG to PG. Also the professional courses like BE, MTech, Polytechnic, MBA, B Pharmacy, B.Ed, D.Ed, etc. And almost we are having 350 plus teachers which are dedicated to this noble profession. We are organizing always social events, culture program, health camp, games and sports. Our visionary, our chairman sir, Dr. Brahmanand Karanjekar, he himself as a teacher had worked in a teaching profession for almost 20 years, and then he started his own institution after the 20 years of his service as a teacher, and almost running nowadays 15 colleges and 2 schools altogether, 17 institutes altogether. Hello. Then there are our chairman sir with the dignitaries, Abdul Kalam sir, Gadkari sir, our college principal Dr. Tudange sir. We have got a head of department where Dr. Tudange sir is also heading the Department of Electrical Engineering, myself also heading the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Hivarkar sir, HOD of Computer Science Engineering, Professor Ringoria sir, HOD of Electronics Engineering, Dr. M.V. Deshpande sir, who is HOD of Civil Engineering, Professor Praful Puri is heading the Applied Science Department. And MBA also, we have got a doctorate ma'am Janvi Rathi. She is heading the MBA department. Our college is affiliated with Nagpur University, and we run the courses which are being granted through AICTE. We have got B Electronics Engineering, B Artificial Intelligence and Data Sciences, B Electrical Engineering, B Computer Science and Engineering, Information Technology, B Mechanical, and B Civil Engineering. And we have got almost intake of 360 altogether in BE course. Likely for PG, we have got PG in Hello? We have also got MTech courses in Computer Science Engineering, MTech Software Engineering, MTech Electronics Engineering, MTech Power Electronics and Power System, MTech Integrated Power System, MTech CAD/CAM, and also MBA. Altogether, we have got 168 seats in MTech. Also, we have got Diploma Engineering with Mechanical, Electrical, Civil, and Computer Science Engineering. About this international conference, which has been organized by Wainganga College of Engineering and Management and IFERP, which is to be scheduled for these 2 days. The papers are selected and will be published in the Scopus also. About the conference, here the researchers are going to present the paper at different platforms. The platform can be electrical, electronics, communication, computer science engineering, applied science, also in management. So the name of the conference itself suggests it is International Conference in Advances in Engineering, Science and Management. As the researchers are searching a platform to present their paper, and this platform has been provided by the international conference, which is to be scheduled today. What expected outcome we are going to get from the conference? It will raise and disseminate the awareness about the upcoming research area, issues, and its success story. It is going to affect the teaching learning process in a positive manner, as the academic will have the recent trend domain of engineering of various departments like mechanical, civil, electrical, electronics, communication, computer science, and applied science. The visionary and modus operandi of several developed nations will also be shared so that we can learn some lessons from it. It will also foster the culture of innovative research among academia and industry. The delegate will also gain the greater understanding through high-profile keynote address, presentation, and discussion sessions, coupled with real practical applications. Benefit to delegates who are attending the conference: the skill improvement, new ideas, and approaches in the conference make delegates more effective and efficient at work. They can meet the expert and influencer face to face. This conference offers the opportunity to delegates to meet the leaders, business leaders, and to position an expert in their field. Networking will be the most important aspect as we are going to meet number of researchers through online conferences. Explore new way of working. New ideas will be generated through with a lot of information on web conferences will be gathered together, and we can explore a new way how to make the work easier. Break out of the comfort zone. Conference forces a delegate to break out the comfort zone. Breaking out of comfort zone, just the type of action that is necessary to break out of the old way of thinking. Greater focuses to imply the flip side of the learning. New things is relearning the classic techniques. This conference creates the opportunity for greater focus and reflection that would help delegates to take idea into the next level. Great access to the pre-conference workshop and how to grow in the unique convergence of network, learning and fun into the single package. Today the keynote speaker who will be in the conference will be Professor Aditya Ghosh from Australia. He is a renowned professor in Computer Science Department. Dr. M.V. Reddy, Institute of Research of Hydrocubics in Transportation and Electrical Energy related topic. He is going to be there as a keynote speaker. Dr. Andres, he will be joining us in the late evening at 4:30. He is senior lecturer in MBA department at Madrid. Vinod Kumar, he is at Amazon Web Services at Hyderabad. He will be joining in the afternoon session. Dr. Vasudev Malhotra, he is a senior professor at YMCA, JC Bose University of Sciences and Technology, NCR. He is senior most professor and also had won the Vishwesvaraya Award winner. And he will be presenting a keynote keynote today after my session at 11:30 a.m. today. So we'll having a great bunch of keynote speaker who is going to motivate the new researcher how to go ahead in their life to make the event success, and how to make our technology to more useful to the human being, and to make I will wait for 2 minutes. Some technical problem.
All the computer science and engineering department faculty are requested to join this immediately. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
हाँ अच्छा हो गया।
हाँ हाँ आईडी कर रहे थे होगा
हाँ ये सेकंड पेज आ गया। हेलो हेलो आई एम ऑडिबल नाउ?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was technical problem of that PPT presentation. It was not going down. So I am sharing the PPT now.
Yes, sir.
So about the conference, this is a college with a white building. The concept of this college has been the combination of White House and the Buckingham Palace. The college which has been the dream project of our chairman, sir, Dr. Brahman Karanjikar. This is our chairman, sir, the visionary behind the college. Also, now politician of BJP. There are some glimpse of our chairman, sir, with former President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, Union Minister of India, Nitin Gadkari ji, our Director Principal, Advanced Patents, Dr. Sudarne sir, Dr. Tranal Hivarkar sir, Ajay Tengoria sir, Anmi Deshpande sir, and Praful Puri, who is heading the Department of Applied Science and Engineering. Undergraduate courses, which is B-level courses in our department of college, are as follows: Electronics Engineering, B Artificial Intelligence and Data Sciences, B Electrical Engineering, B Computer Science Engineering, Information Technology, Mechanical Engineering, and Civil Engineering. Altogether, the intake is about 360 for undergraduate course. For MTech courses, we are having altogether 6 branches and 1 MBA with the intake of 60. And Polytechnic, we have got 4 branches: Mechanical, Electrical, Civil Engineering, and Computer Science Engineering. Our college is affiliated with Nagpur University, RTMLU, Rashtriya Sant Guruji Maharaj Nagpur University, and also been recognized by ICT and DT Maharashtra. International Conference of Advances in Engineering, Science and Management, which is been a virtual conference, which is to be started today onward, for today and tomorrow, which has been sponsored by IFERP, Institute for Engineering Research and Publication, where the selected paper will be published in the Scopus, also in the UGC reported journals. About the conference, it is going to provide a platform for the engineering students, MBA students, also to the sciences students to make their research in the publication, which will help them in the future for making the degree as well as to gain the knowledge. Next is, we are going to have the outcome of the conference. We are going to raise the disseminate awareness about the upcoming research area, issues and success story. Such activity will affect the teaching learning process in a positive manner, as academia will be acquainted with the recent trends of engineering such as mechanical, computer science, electrical, electronics and communication, computer science and applied sciences. The visionary and more friendly of several developed nations will be also shared so that we can also learn some lessons. It can foster the innovative research among academia and industry. The delegate will gain a greater understanding to high-profile keynote address, presentation, and discussion session coupled with real practical applications. What are the benefits to the delegates attending the conference? The skill improvement, learning new ideas and approaches in conference make delegates more effective and efficient at their work. Meeting experts and influencers face to face. Here the face to face is not possible, but when you can meet through online only. But the meeting will be with the number of researchers and new trends will be seen in this conference. The networking will be increased, but we are going to get in relation with the number of new researchers. The new network will be developed between the teachers, researchers, and the industry persons. Exploring new way of working. A well-run conference will help faculty to curate new ideas, even though there is a lot of information on web conference, but we cut the clutter delivery, the best content specific. Break out of the comfort zone. Conferences forces delegates to break out the comfort zone. Breaking out the comfort zone is just the type of action that is necessary to break out the old way of thinking. Getting the greater focuses, to get the pre-conference workshop and to grow. The conference is going to uniquely provide the networking, learning, and the fun into the single package. The keynote speaker, as discussed earlier, are the renowned academicians, also as industrialists, who are going to have a keynote today. Professor Dr. Aditya Ghosh, who is the professor in computer science engineering at the Greater Sydney in the University of Wollongong in Australia. Then will be followed by Dr. M.V. Reddy, who is again the Center of Excellence in Transportation, Electrification and Energy. Dr. Andres will be joining in the late evening at 4:30 p.m. today. He is senior lecturer and MBA from Spain. Mr. Vinod Kumar, he is senior site leader at Amazon Web Services at India and Hyderabad. He is also a great motivator and he is pilot also, a helicopter pilot also. Professor Dr. Vasudev Malhotra, he is a renowned educationist in the NCR region, where he is leading the Department of Mechanical Engineering at WCEM University. Now it is called J.C. Bose University of Sciences and Technology. He is a renowned professor in the field of mechanical engineering. Also, he has got an award of Vishwesvaraya Award for Best Teacher. Also, he is the member of Foundry Engineering Society and is a well-renowned speaker and almost have in the collection of around 100 research papers in his bag. So we'll have a pleasure to listen to him also today in after my session at 11:30. This is our organizing committee, Chief Patron Dr. Ranjit sir, Patron Dr. Sudhanya sir, and the steering committees. So we are going to see the different committees which are being involved. This organizing committee, where I am the convener and my all department heads. Organizing committee, where all the faculty members are involved for publication and public relations. Website management committee, those who are worked for the website and communication to various departments. People organizing committee who are working hard towards making the organizing the conference in success. Then a pre-conference workshop committee, all the organization of the conference are done by these committee members. Single sessions committee, which we are going to have today, where our Dr. Dhananjay sir will be having the session chair of electrical engineering. Myself, Dr. Bharat Chede, will be heading towards the technical session of mechanical engineering. Dr. Gambak Hivarkar sir will be handling the session chair for computer science engineering. Professor Tingoria sir will be handling the technical section for electronics and communication engineering. Dr. N.V. Deshpande sir will be having a technical session chair with the civil engineering students. And Praful Puri will be heading towards for the applied science and humanities. Various committees, again, the finance committee is looked after Dr. Rahul Mokhare sir. Transportation, this is the outreach committee. Those professors who had helped us together to make the conference success. The professor from Symbiosis, Dr. Aarti Chandani, Dr. Garikar, Dr. Manish Karashar from Nashik, Dr. R. Sujata from VIT Vellore, Dr. Vishal Shukla, Ramdev Baba College from Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Ambe Bati is again from the Tamil Nadu, Dr. Rohini Uche from Ramdev Baba College and LIT College, Dr. Samir Wal. So these are the outreach committee. Also, we have got Professor Sharath from Karnataka, Dr. Somakshi Murthy from Pune. He is from Institute of Advanced Technology, Within University. He is from Applied Science Department. Dr. Sunil Chade, again from Defense Institute of Advanced Technology, Gauri Rao from Computer Science Engineering, Pune. Kiran Tagale sir, who is from Sardar Patel College at Mumbai. Anand Maheshwari, he is from Ram College at Nagpur. Avsare sir, he is from Daulat Rao Aher College of Engineering, Karad, Maharashtra, India. It is Satara. Dr. Khode sir is from SBN College of Engineering. Again, in electronics and telecommunication, we have got Asta Sharma madam, Dr. Rahul Dixit is from IIT, Triple IT Pune, Dr. Sharda Singh is from Ramdev College, Bhushan Yadav sir is from Kudalmal Sahani College, Dr. Chandrasekhar Shinde is from JJ Magdum College at Jaisalmer, Sangli district. Dr. Divya Ashish from MBA department at Chennai. Hema Kale, she is from Vincent Pallotti College at Nagpur only. And Zote madam from Ramdev College. Usetwar madam from Triple IT Nagpur. Dr. Prashant Divse from Civil Engineering Department, Ramdev College. Sandeep Joshi ji from Ramdev College, Dr. Sangeeta Mitkar from Batu University at Lonera Raigad, Dr. Seema Lingaraj, she is from again Khodal Sahani College, Dr. Sushant Satpute from Pallotti College, Nagpur, Department of Computer Science, Dr. Varsha Jadhav from PES College of Engineering, Aurangabad. So these are outreach committee where we are going to have the professors who have helped us a lot and not the least at our advisory board, the Dr. D.P. Kothari, he is ex-VNIT director, who has been the professor in our college also, and he is also the advisory board of our this conference. Arvind Shaligram sir, he is from University of Pune. Dr. Sangvi, he is from KVGM College, Chandwad, Pune. Then Sitaraman sir is from Bangalore. And altogether we have got the advisory board, and today we are going to have the keynote speaker, Dr. Vasudev Malhotra. So I will be requesting Aditi to welcome Dr. Malhotra, as he might be joining. He might be joining soon. So I will be requesting. I will be requesting Dr. Malhotra sir, if host can make Dr. Malhotra sir live.
Hello.
Dr. Vasudev Malhotra. Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah, Malhotra sir, you are on live now.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. All are. Everybody.
Yeah, you're audible, sir. Audible. You're audible, sir.
Okay.
Sir, you can start now, sir. You can start now, sir. So I would like to welcome Dr. Malhotra sir from
Sir,
Wainganga College of Engineering.
I am audible.
Yeah, sir, you are audible now. You are audible.
First of all,
Yes, you can start, sir.
Okay, sir. First of all, I am very, very thankful to Professor Bharat Chaddeji, Director of the Engineering College, Wainganga College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. I am thankful to the technical members, technical committees of these international conferences in the advances in engineering and science and management. And thanks to Bharat Chaddeji, Professor Bharat Chaddeji, for giving this opportunity as a keynote speaker here in this conference. Basically, I will tell about something advanced new, the research. In this research, I am just asking about the reconfigurable manufacturing system. What are that? The reconfigurable manufacturing system is one designed at the outset for the rapid changes in its structure as well as its hardware and the software components in order to quickly adjust its production capacity and functionality with the part family in response to the sudden market changes or in the system changes. Basically, what are the difference between the RMS, FMS and the conventional manufacturing system? In the case of an conventional manufacturing systems, the system which will come you can do the work by the hand in the conventional manufacturing system, that is not automatic. But after that, when the research was going on, in that the FMS will become FMS, that flexible manufacturing system. In the flexible manufacturing system, the system will become the flexible, but flexibility is there, but the software you cannot change that. But after that, there are some disadvantages in the FMS system. That was the hardware and the software you cannot change. Only flexibility is there. After that, the RMS will come. In the RMS, that is Reconfigurable manufacturing system. In this Reconfigurable manufacturing system, you can change the software and the hardware. According to that, the productivity of the system will be increased while the machine is same. But you can install any kind of software or any kind of hardware in the regarding with the attached to that machine. In that case, the productivity will be enhanced. Let us see the example. Let us see the example of milling machine or the lathe machine. You can add attachment. If you can add the attachment of the regarding in what way the milling operations are to be done, and in that case, the one machine can be do the different works. That becomes the reconfigurable, and it means you have changes that reconfiguration you have changed. Configuration when you will change, then that is called a reconfigurable manufacturing system. And after on the same machine, not you have installed any kind of new machine, but you have installed the only software or the hardware you have attached according to that. Then you will enhance the productivity by applying the same machine, not any kind of advancement will be there. There are some advantages of the reconfigurable manufacturing system: high productivity, high modularity, high integrability, high diagnosticability. These are the main advantages of the reconfigurable manufacturing system. But there are some disadvantages, that integration is very difficult. Integration means it is very difficult to integrate the parts with the computers. Let us see the example. Suppose there is a robotics, and robotics are to be integrated with the machines, then that is become very, very difficult. Nowadays, the RMS system is now coming in the research. SPM machines are to be generated, and according to that, the production and the productivity are to be increasing day by day. Some are the important techniques which are to be applied on that, such as ISM approach, integrated structural modeling approach, you can be applied on the barriers and the factors of the techniques. Some are the barriers are such as management, lack of any kind of supply or any kind of machinery in that case, or the some are the factors such as modularity, integrability, diagnosticability. These are the factors which are to be affecting the reconfigurable manufacturing system. But when you are applied the ISM approach in that, according to that ISM approach, after the ending of that approach, you will find the key barriers. Key barriers such as, so if you have to identify 15 barriers, according to by the applying this technique, you will identify the 2 or 3 key barriers, and the management have to key seen on that management to improve the productivity of the plant. If they are not to be seen in that case, the productivity will be decreased day by day, and one day will become the plant will be closed. Some of the other research techniques are there. Graph-vertical approach, that is called GT approach, ICE approach, vector analysis, YCO technique. These are the techniques which are to be applied on the RMS by making the system to be more effective and more productivity. In the GT approach, you will find the barrier index value. Every product having some barrier index. According to that, when the index value will be increased, then it will become very difficult, and it is very, very essential that to have to see the what are the barrier index are to be improved, it to be, if they are becoming high, because at some level extent the barrier index value of that part will be there. So the key managers or the plant heads are to be seen very carefully that the key barrier index value, and according to that GT approach will helps to find out the key barrier index value. According to that, all the factors, all the graphs are to be maintained by the GTA approach. So in this way, the RMS technique works, and the different techniques, the such techniques are to be applied on that. And after that, it are to be find out the various key various issues, different issues are there of this plant, the RMS system. So this internal conference is on the advances of engineering, science and management. So these are the main, this I am technique, this I am which I am discussing with you. This is RMS technique, this is advanced technique in the case of engineering and the research. Several students are doing on this research, and the several papers are to be published here in the different journals. So I am very, very thankful to the Bharat Chandaji, director of this Wainganga College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. And thanks, sir, for giving this the opportunity as a keynote speaker on this conference. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate the time that you had taken to attend as a keynote speaker in our conference. Thanks again from Wainganga College of Engineering. Participants, if anyone has any questions for sir, they can please ask.
The question, please.
If participants have any questions, they can please ask. There are no questions as of now, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Our next keynote speaker will join us shortly at 12 p.m. I request all the participants that since there's 30 minutes of time left, they can have refreshments in the meantime. And I request all of the participants to join at 12 p.m. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, madam. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell about something more?
Can you please repeat, sir?
Can I tell about something more about advanced manufacturing?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Now I am telling about what is advanced manufacturing. I am audible, madam?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
The advanced manufacturing, this is, you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible and you're audible also.
Okay. The advanced manufacturing is the use of innovative technology to improve products or the processes This means the relevant technology being described as the advanced, innovative, or the cutting edge. Advanced manufacturing industries increasingly integrate new innovative technologies in both products and the processes. Or in other case, the advanced manufacturing is the use of innovative technologies and the methodologies for improved competence of the manufacturing sectors. Now, what are the aims of the advanced manufacturing systems? The main aim of the advanced manufacturing system is to enhance the productivity, that is called output, increase added value, quality, responsiveness to the market, flexibility, and reduce time to market, unit quantities, material content, material inventory, underutilized capital plant. Now, what is the difference between the traditional manufacturing versus advanced manufacturing systems? The traditional manufacturing system is based on the use of dedicated plant and the production lines with a little or no flexibility. Advanced manufacturing involves versatile production methods that fully utilize capital plant and more effective and the responsive. Although there are circumstances where traditional dedicated methods are still appropriate, such a long predictable productivity runs, advanced manufacturing has the capacity to accommodate the varying production requirements and mass customizations commonly encountered by the industry without the need of excessive capital investment. This is the difference between the traditional manufacturing versus advanced manufacturing systems. Now, the advanced manufacturing system encompasses all the aspects of the value chain from the concept to end of life considerations and the relies on the information communication technologies to integrate the manufacturing and the business activities into a seamless, efficient operations. The technologies involved in the advanced manufacturing can be divided into three main groupings: efficient production, intelligent production, and the effective organization. The efficient production involves design simulations, physical and computer modeling, advanced productions. Madam, how much time is required? How much time is there for me? Madam?
Sir, you can continue for 10-15 minutes.
Okay. The technologies and the control technologies, the emphasis is on the synthesis rather than the sequential engineering. Relevant production technologies include rapid prototyping, net shape manufacturing, and the precision castings, machining and joining techniques. What is intelligent production? The intelligent production involves the use of ICT in the manufacturing and related logistic systems, as the production of the oriented intelligent machines and the production lines. The psychology involves implementing systems for the extended life and the optimal use of production facilities through the efficient monitoring, maintenance, and the repair strategies. Now, what is the effective organization? Involves the efficient coordination and exploitation of the manufacturing resources, the emphasis between the physical resources and the knowledge. Relevant topics include the virtual tendering and the enterprises, shared facilities and the resources, novel organizations, incubation units, knowledge management and trading, and the electronic commerce. The emphasis is on the area of the use of technology to enhance the involvement and the capability of SMEs as well as the large organizations. Now, what are the features of the advanced manufacturing systems? Introduction to the new technologies, relevant, attractive trade-oriented design, minimize manual work and the maximize machine work, and minimization of the cost. What are the types of the advanced manufacturing system? JIT. JIT is the main important type, just in time, and the SIM, computer integrated manufacturing, FMS, flexible manufacturing systems, and the RMS, reconfigurable manufacturing system, that I have told already to you. What is JIT? JIT philosophy means getting the right quantity of the goods at the right place at the right time. JIT exceeds the concept of inventory reductions. It all emphasizes psychology geared by the eliminate waste anything that does not add value. Other way, a broad view or the lean production, the lean systems, one that the encompasses the entire organization. What are the three elements of the JIT? The three elements of the JIT are just-in-time manufacturing, total quality management, respect for the peoples. These are the three elements of the JIT. Now, JIT manufacturing focuses on the production system to achieve the value added manufacturing. TQM is an integrated effort designed to improve the quality performance at the every level. Respect for people rests on the psychology that human resources are an essential part of JIT psychology. JIT manufacturing is psychology of value added manufacturing. These are the elements of the JIT manufacturing. Achieved by the focusing on these elements, inventory reductions, exposes problems, Kanbans and the full production systems, small load and the quick setups, uniform plant loading, flexible resources, efficient facility layout. What are the role of inventory reductions? Inventory is equal to lead time, which is lesser is better. Inventory hides the problems. Let us see the figure A. In this figure A, this is the inventory is higher than the figure B, this is lower. And these are the main important parts: machine breakdowns, poor vendors, poor quality, poor design, long setups, insufficient layout. But the inventory level is this. In this case, the inventory level is low, machine breakdowns, poor vendors, poor design, long setups, poor quality, insufficient layout. Inventory level is low, inventory level is high. Inventory hides the problems, but reducing inventory exposes the problems. Whenever the inventory is very less, then it will become the more problem. JIT manufacturing, the pull system. I am showing this pull system to you. This is the pull system. This is the workstation A. This is workstation B, and this is the supplying water. Suppose the supplying water center is there. Work center, withdrawing the work center. This W stands for container with withdrawn carbon. E stands for container with the production carbon. This is W and this is P. This is container with the production carbon, or this is the container with the withdrawn carbon. Now this is output area. This from P to step 1, workstation B. This is the step 3, input area to this output area. The material is to this. And the process follow. This is the line show material flow, but if it is noted, that is carbon flow. So this is the material flow from A to this 6 to 4 to 2, and after that is the output area. Supplying, this is supplying water center, and this is withdrawing water center. This position to this position it will be supplied, and these are which are to be shown in the dotted line. These are the carbon flow, which is from this to this. Carbon flow is intermittent flow, that is not a regular flow. Understand? Now, what are the benefits of the JIT? Reduction in the inventories, improved quality, reduced space requirements, shorter lead times, lower production cost, increased productivity, increased machine utilization, greater flexibility are the main benefits of the JIT. And what is SIM? Basically, computer integrated manufacturing. This is the manufacturing approach of using computers to control the entire production processes. In this system, the functional areas such as design, analysis, planning, purchasing, cost accounting, inventory control, and the distributions are linked through the computer with the factory floor functions such as material handling and the management, providing direct control and monitoring of all the operations. Let us see, these are the operations: design, analysis, automation, this is simulation, this is inspection, this is quality, these are the activities, management, materials, assembly, scheduling, show floor, planning. These are the main important parts of this. What are the benefits of the SIM? Sorry, SIM allows the individual processes to exchange the information with each other and intimate the actions. Though the integration of the computers manufacturing can be faster and lesser error-prone, although the main advantage is the ability to create the automatic manufacturing processes. These are the different workstations are there. According to that, the SIM works in digital processes to exchange information with each other and integrate the actions. The SIM is an example of the implementation of information and the communications. SIM implies that there are at least two computation exchanging informations. Example, the controller of arm robot and microcontroller of the machine. Some factors involved when considering a SIM implementation are the production volume, the experience of the company or the personnel to make the integration, the level of integration into the product itself, and the integration of the production processes. SIM is most useful when a high level of ICT is used in the company or the facility, such as CAD/CAM systems, the availability of the process planning and its data. These are the main important features of the SIM. You can see this is the missile or other parts designing which are to be made on this new designing to be made by the computer manufacturing. What are the key challenges of the SIM? The integration of the components from the different suppliers. When different machines such as CNC, conveners, and the robots are the different communications protocols. In the case of AGV, have even different lengths of time for changing the batteries may cause the problem. The higher the degree of automation, the more critical is the integrity of the data used to control the machines. While the SIM system saves the labor of operating the machines, it requires extra human labor in ensuring that there are proper safeguards for the data signals that are used to control the machines. Process control. The computer may be used to assist the human operators of the manufacturing facility, but there must always be competent engineer for the hand-to-hand circumstances which could not be foreseen by the designer of the control software. Some systems in the computer integrated manufacturing. A computer integrated manufacturing system is not the same as light out factory, which would run completely independent of the human inventions, although it is a big step in that direction. Part of the system involves flexible manufacturing, where the factory can quickly modify it to produce different products, or whether the volume of the products can be changed quickly with the aid of the computers. These are the computer aided techniques: CAD, CAE, computer aided engineering; CAM, computer aided manufacturing; CAP, computer aided process planning; CAQ, computer aided quality assurance; PPC, production planning and control; ERP, enterprise resource planning, a business system integrated by a common database. These are the devices which are required: CNC computer, numerical control machine, direct numerical control machine, programmable logic controllers, robotics, computer, software controller, networks, interfacing, and the monitoring equipments. What are the techniques? Flexible FMS, flexible manufacturing systems; ASRS, automated storage and retrieval systems; AGV, automated guided vehicles; robotic, automated conveyance systems. And FMS, I have also discussed earlier, flexible manufacturing system in the form of flexible automation in which the several machining tools are linked together by a material handling system, and all the aspects of the systems are controlled by a central computer. This is FMS, different workstations. The workstation 1, 2, 3, 4 are to be made, and these are to be linked together. Features of FMS. The features of FMS is distinguished from an automatic production line by its ability to process more than one product style at a moment. Each machine in the system may be processing in different part type. FMS can let us make changes in the production schedule in order to meet the demands on the product on the different products. These are the new product styles can be introduced into the production with the FMS so long as they are to be used on the products that system can be processed. The link of the system is therefore ideal when there is a likely to be change in the demands. Extreme functions, integrated functions, production control, production monitoring, machine control, and machine diagnostics. This is the process planning, and this is the tool management. This is the characteristics. An automatic material handling system links machines in the system and provides the automatic interchange of the work pieces in each machine. Automatic continuous cycling of the individual machines, complete control of the manufacturing system by the host computer. Three levels of the flexibility are machine flexibility, material handling flexibility, operational flexibility. And system flexibility means volume flexibility, expansion flexibility, routing flexibility, process flexibility, and the product flexibility. Aggregate flexibility, program flexibility, production flexibility, and the market flexibility. Major external developments: weaving loom with the paper tapes, NC machine with the paper tapes, hardware NC machines, computer controls, track and VNC machines. These are the components: robotics, material handling machines, computer controller, software, and the network are the components of the FMS systems. These are the SM systems you can see here. The robotics, the different workstations, and this is the person is doing work here, config control every machine is one point. These are the benefits: reduce working processes, increase machine utilization, better manual control, reduce indirect labor, reduce manufacturing lead time, reduce inventory. Disadvantages: expensive costing, substantial pre-planning, testing in the manufacturing system, limited ability to adopt changes, technology problems of the extended components, positioning of the precise timing necessary to process of the components. These are the benefits: technology will make 100% instruction possible. Computer diagnosis will improve the estimation of the machine's failure and guide workflows repairing failures. Use of robots that have vision, tactile sensing, minimize human labor in the manufacturing systems, more flexibility tools with increased computing power, better management software, hardware, and manufacturing techniques, develop standards that will be installed with new machines easily. Reduce marketing of the robots, products, customer order for the customers, customer order for the customer will be made immediately with the exact specifications. Improve network system between the manufacturing and the suppliers. This RMS I have shown earlier. Discussed earlier with you regarding the design for the changing structure in order to quickly adjust production and the capacity of the part family. So these are the new advances in research are to be going on advanced manufacturing system. I am very thankful to Bharat Chandeji, Professor and Director of the Institute, Wainganga College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. I am also thankful to the Institute of Engineering Research and Publication for organizing collectively this international conference in the Wainganga College of Engineering and Management. Thanks to the every technical committee, advisory committee, and other experts. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. So, participants, any questions? If participants have any questions, please you can ask. So there are no questions, it seems.
Okay, madam. Can I leave now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining the session.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir is here?
Apologies, sir. There's one question from Dipti ma'am to Professor Vasudev. Scientific cost benefit calculated or not? So can you please answer this question? Apologies, sir. So there's a question from Dipti ma'am for you. She's asking about scientific cost benefit calculated or not.
Yes, that can be calculated by the different techniques, FMS or the RMS.
Okay, sir.
You can calculate. All the calculations are to be done by the FMS technique or the RMS technique to make the system become more effective and efficient. Bharat Chande sir is here. Hello, madam.
Yes, sir. He will join us shortly.
Bharat Chande sir is here.
Sir, he will join us shortly in a minute.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Bharat sir has joined us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bharat Chande sir. Thank you, sir, for this giving me this opportunity here. I have delivered the keynote speech.
इसमें बता देता हूँ ये लगा पानी का
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You are audible?
Yes, audible now, sir.
Thank you, sir, for this giving me the opportunity here.
Yeah. It's a pleasure, sir. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, sir.
Okay, sir, bye.
Let us meet soon, sir. We'll meet soon. Whenever I come to Delhi, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, madam.
Our next keynote speaker will join us shortly within 5 to 6 minutes. I request all the participants to please wait 5 minutes. Thank you. Our next keynote speaker. Our next keynote speaker is Professor Dr. Aditya Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh is Professor of Computer Science and Director at Decision Systems Lab at University of Holcombe, which is located at Greater Sydney area, Australia. I welcome you, sir. I request you to please proceed with your speech. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for inviting me. I'm going to try and share my screen. In the meantime, there's a chat message. All right.
So give me 1 minute. I need to make it clear. Yeah, you are a co-host, no? You can share.
Hello, Aditya sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. We can start the session, sir.
Okay, very well.
Okay. Your screen is visible to us, sir, and you are audible.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to move the slides up and down a bit. Tell me if you can see the slides moving.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
All working. All
Okay.
good, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for the invitation. My name is Aditya Ghosh. I head the Decision Systems Lab at the School of Computing and IT at the University of Wollongong. For those of you who don't know, Wollongong is about a 50-minute drive from Sydney Airport. So it's just a southern suburb of Sydney in some sense. I've been at the University of Wollongong since 1997. I established the Decision Systems Lab in 1998. I'm a professor of computer science. I also head an entity called the Center for Oncology Informatics. I serve as president of the Service Science Society of Australia. I'm a fellow of engineers in the Institution of Engineers of Australia. I have a PhD in computing science from the University of Alberta, also a master's from the same place, a bachelor's degree from Jadavpur University in India in computer science and engineering, which I completed in 1989. So that's about me. My research lab is called the Decision Systems Lab. It was established, as I said, in 1998. We work in a bunch of areas which all involve the applications of AI in business process management and service-oriented computing, software engineering, optimization, and some core AI areas such as knowledge representation, agent technology, and so on. As I mentioned, we have a large footprint in the clinical informatics space. So we work with the Radiation Oncology Center in our local health district, also with something called Liverpool Hospital and the Ingham Medical Research Institute, plus the Radiation Oncology Clinic at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, where we mainly work on clinical process analytics and so on. Over the years, we have worked very closely with a whole bunch of corporate R&D labs and other companies, including IBM Research, Infosys Labs. It doesn't exist anymore, but it used to. Xerox Research, Samsung, Bosch, Australia's only steelmaking company, which is called BlueScope Steel. It's located right here in Wollongong. A company that is these days called DXC was called CSC some time back. And these days we do a fair amount of defense work with companies such as BAE Systems, Lockheed Martin, and also the federal government's Department of Defense and the Defense Science and Technology Group. So today I thought I'll talk a little bit about AI. We don't have a lot of time, and we are, from the looks of it, we only have about 20 minutes. So I'll talk a bit about what's happening in the AI space that's interesting. I'm assuming I'm speaking to a fairly generalist audience where I tend to give talks mainly to computer scientists, but this talk I'm assuming is to a mixed bag of engineers, computer scientists, and possibly practitioners and academics in management. So if you think about what's happening in AI, it's kind of extremely interesting. I've worked in AI for the better part of my life, at least for 33 years. But I've been interested in AI since I was in high school when I read a magazine article. This was in the early 1980s that talked about AI, and that got me really hooked on the idea and its prospects and possibilities. These days, AI is particularly popular. It holds a very special part of the public imagination, and it does so for some good reasons and some not so good reasons. My worry is that AI will go through a crash or a winter as it has done in the past. So when undergraduate student in the late 1980s, if I would go to my university library, some of the major magazines in our space, the communications of the ACM or the IEEE Computer magazine, would have page after page of job ads for people who were called knowledge engineers, AI specialists, and so on. In those days, the kind of AI that was popular was rule-based AI. People built expert systems. And many, many companies made massive investments Sometimes they would have in-house AI departments with 1,000 people and so on. We're talking the late 1980s. This was when the hype was about the idea that by doing rule-based expert systems, we could solve all of life's problems. It turned out that that was hype. Rule-based expert systems are extremely useful. They're extremely important. They're an old construct and people don't talk about them very much these days, but they were overhyped. And as a consequence, by the time the early 90s came around, suddenly en masse, industry lost interest in AI. They shut down their in-house AI departments. And this was the onset of what is often called the AI winter. So the AI winter happened in the early 1990s, and it lasted almost a decade. It wasn't until the late 1990s that people started getting some, and when I say people, I mean the corporate world, the user community, and so on, started getting a small revival of interest in AI. So there was an AI winter in the late 80s, early 90s that lasted for almost a decade. There was an earlier AI winter that happened because of a report by the UK government in the 1970s, but I won't talk about that one because that's kind of not my personal experience. I was very young in those days. My fear is that there will be another AI winter and it's coming soon. And that's because only certain kinds of AI are being hyped up. There's a lot of talk around machine learning, about deep learning and so on. We use these things in my lab, in a lot of the work we do, but these are very messy things. One of the problems that the use of the kinds of machine learning that are popular these days has caused is the inability to explain the reasoning of these systems. So there is a whole subfield now called explainable AI, which looks at taking sub-symbolic reasoning at the level of neural networks and trying to generate a symbolic counterpart that you can point to and explain the reasoning of. So if you are using a medical diagnostic system and the medical diagnostic system looks at a bunch of different types of data, imaging data, and so on and so forth, and comes to the conclusion that the patient has a certain kind of disease, one of the things that a clinician or indeed a patient will want to know is, why did you come to this conclusion? And often with the technology we are very excited apparently about is the answer is, well, I can't tell you because there's some mysterious mumbo jumbo happening inside this black box, and that's telling me this. Now that doesn't inspire a lot of trust in the user. So the user needs to trust what the system is telling it. As a consequence, there is this whole area that has evolved that's trying to generate explanations from things that do not lend themselves to easy explanation. So this is one interesting trend that you will see in AI. Now, what we would like to see is declarative AI, where things are happening at the declarative level. In other words, things are being written down, reasoning is happening at a level that I can, as a user or as an expert in the area, I can inspect and understand. You cannot do that with a deep learning system, as just one example. So this is one interesting area that has grown because of the way AI has evolved. And in part, AI has evolved the way it has in the recent past is because some very large companies have invested in certain aspects of AI which are very convenient for them. And as a consequence, they have created a buzz around those aspects of AI at the expense of many other interesting parts of AI. Now, if you sort of rewind the tape back to 2007, the Wired magazine issue in 2007 had 2008 had a article written by the editor of Wired, Chris Anderson, and this article it had this title, "The End of Theory. The Data Deluge Makes the Scientific Method Obsolete." So the idea was, so this then caught public imagination. So the idea was that, we are passing the point where a textbook in science is going to be of any interest. Why? Because the data that our systems are generating our experimental systems, our monitoring systems, our sensor networks. The data that they're generating is coming so fast, and the insights that they're generating are so new that it's kind of, it becomes a case of every lecture being prefaced with a caveat that, okay, please note that I'm going to talk about a few things now, but by the time the lecture ends in 2 hours' time, those things might be obsolete because the data that would have arrived between now and then will suggest that other insights are important, not the ones that I'm talking about. In other words, textbooks would become obsolete. We're looking at so the thinking was that we're looking at the end of books, textbooks, and so on. So this was the end of theory argument. There's the end of science argument that came off the same observation that the quest for knowledge begins with theories, but with vast amounts of data, theories become so dynamic, so rapidly changing, that it's almost useless to talk about theories or to teach people theories, because by the time you've taught them these theories, the theories will have changed. But now, if you look at the other end of the story, much more recently, in the last 3 years or so, some of you will have heard of a system called AlphaZero, which was built by Google DeepMind. AlphaZero was built to play a game that was traditionally entirely dominated by human players, and that was Go. So the original system was AlphaGo, and there's a very famous documentary about the competition that happened in Seoul in South Korea between the world champion Go player and AlphaGo, and of course the world champion was defeated. Now, AlphaZero leveraged that technology and said, how about instead of learning by looking at carefully curated data about past instances of the game of Go, we play AlphaGo against a copy of itself. Now that is a profoundly interesting concept, because it says that real life data may be not very interesting. Maybe an AI counterpart to real life systems might be the best way to generate the data from which we can learn insights and so on. And these days we might call that AI counterpart to a real life system. We might call that a digital twin. So digital twins have become very important, but that's pointing to a very interesting phenomenon, which I would call the end of data. So in the previous slide, I was talking about the end of theory because of data, and now we're talking about the end of data. So this takes us into very interesting and unknown territory, right? Now, one of the interesting observations about data-driven stuff, so we all hear about people talking about how cool and interesting it is to talk about data analytics and so on. So one of my colleagues made this very interesting observation. He said that if the only thing we ever did was data analytics, then today we would be driving very sophisticated, very carefully designed horse-drawn carriages. Why? Because our data sets, if you're looking at a snapshot in the late 1800s, was entirely composed of data obtained from horse-drawn carriages. It took something else, and that wasn't data analytics. It was entirely something else to teach us that, in fact, there is innovation, and that innovative leap. Sorry, I missed that. What was that question? Was there a question at all?
I believe there is some.
Okay, I'm assuming there was no question. I'll continue. So if we did data analytics, we would have ended up with very nice horse-drawn carriages. But it took innovation, which does not happen with data analytics, to take us from horse-drawn carriages to cars, right? So there are these leaps that happen, and that's because of innovation. That's not because of machine learning. It's not because of deep learning. It's not because of big data analytics. It's because of something else entirely. This recognition is kind of missing in the current discourse. So it's an interesting angle to think about when you're thinking about AI and its implications and what one could do with it. I'll give you another little example that I find very compelling. So as I said, one of the one of the activities that my research group engages in is building computational tools, often AI tools, to support oncologists, people who study and deal with cases of cancer. Now, in 1943, there was a harbor in southern Italy called Bari. Southern Italy had that time been already retaken by the Allies, so the US Navy was in place in this harbor. And the Nazi Air Force, the Luftwaffe, launched a bombing raid on this harbor, and they bombed a whole bunch of US Navy ships. And one of the ships was carrying a load of a chemical agent. So it was a chemical weapon, a nerve gas, which was kind of illegal. So, but that ship blew up in this raid. And as a consequence, a whole bunch of US military people were exposed to this chemical agent, and they all fell very badly sick. And there was a few hundred who were very quietly shipped back to the US because the government did not want it to be known that they were actually dealing with chemical weapons. So these people were taken away to the US, and when the medical specialists looked at them, they realized that what was common to all of their situations was that their bone marrow had been killed by that nerve gas. Now, interestingly, so that's a bad thing, right? So these people had their bone marrows killed, and that really is a cause for death in many cases. Some died, some lived, but nobody was very healthy afterwards. But interestingly, it led to the very first chemotherapy agent. Now, people for many years had been looking for a medical solution to the problem of blood cancers, leukemia, and things of that sort. And they always were trying to find ways in which to prevent the human bone marrow from multiplying rapidly, which is what happens in blood cancers. And because of this raid, they suddenly realized that this chemical weapon was in fact a chemotherapy drug. Administered at the right dose to patients, it can kill off parts of the bone marrow and thus prevent the rapid multiplication of the cells that lead to blood cancers. Now, it's interesting if you think about the scientific method here. This was not data analytics, obviously. It was not the application of machine learning, but it did lead to a massive insight. But what was the massive insight? The massive insight was triggered by a military raid, and one that was otherwise entirely unpleasant in its consequences. So that tells us that sometimes science progresses because of unlikely things, and it's not because of the things that we often talk about in the context of AI these days. So this is an interesting thought to keep in mind. I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems that people are now worrying about in relation to ethical AI. So some of the work we do with defense, the concern is that we want to ensure that autonomous weapon systems behave properly. We don't want drones that can take autonomous AI-driven decisions on whether to kill a human or not to kill a human. We always want to make sure that those decisions remain in the hands of human beings. Ideally, we want to live in a world where those decisions do not have to be made, but if they have to be made, they should be made by humans and not by AI systems. So the ethical AI is a big question. There are also questions about how you deploy algorithms. So we live in a world where algorithms drive everything. If you fly on a plane, if you ride on a train, there are algorithms that are driving where you're seated, how the plane flies, how the train travels, and so on. But the reality of the matter is that algorithms are imperfect. Algorithms are sometimes wrong. Algorithms can be biased. Algorithms reflect the biases of the human authors of these algorithms. So there is a big question around how to make sure that algorithms are fit for purpose. And there's some very interesting work that we are doing and others are doing in that space. I want to make one final little comment, which is a very interesting idea that I've been talking about with some of my colleagues in philosophy. So one of the things that people are getting worried about is bias in AI. So there is an observation that in the US, some of the judicial system use these things called sentencing algorithms. And the sentencing algorithm is used to decide for a person who has been convicted of a crime, what the sentence should be. And the sentencing algorithm is data driven. So it depends on the person's demographic profile plus the data available about people of that demographic profile. Now, as it turns out, if there is a demographic group that is traditionally disadvantaged, that group will have a history of repeatedly offending in a criminal setting. And that leads to these algorithms suggesting very harsh sentences for individuals belonging to those groups. But that's just a matter of history. That's an accident of history that those groups are economically and politically disadvantaged. And as a consequence, they show the effects of that disadvantage by being more criminally inclined than others. That doesn't mean that in and of itself, being of that background will make that person criminal. So people have been arguing now that these kinds of sentencing algorithms that are data-driven are actually a bad idea because they reflect biases that exist for historical reasons in the data sets they use. But that leads to this idea of computational civil disobedience. So civil disobedience is what we in India are famous for, right? Mahatma Gandhi invented civil disobedience. And so what is computational civil disobedience? So people from a traditionally advantaged group, people of traditionally wealthy backgrounds, decide to commit small crimes. So let's assume that speeding on a highway is treated as a crime. So lots of people from a traditionally advantaged group speed on the highway deliberately. And what that leads to is a data set that seems to suggest that people who are traditionally treated as low-risk offenders now get treated as high-risk offenders. So we are deliberately engaging in mass action to massage a data set to make it less biased than it used to be. So the term computational civil disobedience is a term I coined. And I think it's a very interesting idea to deal with these biases in the data that lead to very unfortunate patterns of reasoning in the AI systems that we routinely use. So there are these kinds of questions that are showing up in AI. So I had 25 minutes and that's about the best I can do. I gave you some interesting tidbits. If that's interesting, please do talk to me. And that's that for my presentation.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request participants, if they have any questions, they can ask.
I'm seeing a message that says I was not audible. Was I not audible?
You also, there must be some network issues there.
Okay. There's a question in the chat about what are the limitations of AI. So I guess I talked about some of them, right? So some of the AI that we are so excited about these days rely on data sets and their biased data sets. Sometimes we deal with reasoning that we cannot explain and therefore human users cannot trust. So these are some of the limitations that are the biggest challenges right now. But there are many others. We can go on for hours about the limitations.
Dr. Aditya?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. You discussed something about rule-based AI in, I think, 80s or 90s.
Yep.
Were they neurofuzzy systems? I remember that diagram you showed, it was related to neurofuzzy systems.
No, these were not neurofuzzy systems. In those days, people used to build rule-based expert systems.
Rules.
Yeah, so if then rules, right? And there was
rules used to be fuzzy rules, and the calculations were done using neural networks, ANNs.
Sometimes, yes, there was a branch of that which was about fuzzy reasoning, the use of fuzzy set theory and logic. But in general, the basic idea was still rules. Fuzzy logic provided one approach to dealing with uncertainty, but there were others.
Okay. And if you don't mind, could you please explain why you are expecting another winter in AI? In near
because
future.
of the exact same reason that there was this winter that I talked about. Because there is a natural tendency in the corporate world in particular, and amongst individuals who have a vested interest, to overhype the potential of certain technologies. And I'm seeing that happen again.
Okay, okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure, sure. All right, I guess my time is up. So thank you all for listening to me. I shall now take your leave.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining our conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, all right, bye.
Bye-bye, sir. So it's 12:30 now. So according to our agenda, we'll break for lunch for 30 minutes. Before breaking for lunch, I just want to give some of the basic instructions for our technical session. So as you can see on your window, on your interface, there is a small icon or a icon stating breakout rooms. So breakout rooms are individual meetings for different disciplines. Like for mechanical and civil, we have one breakout room. For computer science and engineering and information technology, we have another. And for electrical and electronics, we have third breakout room. So this is how we have divided breakout rooms into 3 individual meetings, wherein the technical sessions will be held parallelly. All the participants are requested to please voluntarily choose the breakout room of their discipline and attend the meeting. Attend the technical sessions. So our technical session will start at 1 p.m. sharp. The breakout room for management. Yes. Apologies. There will be breakout room for management as well. So there will be 4 breakout rooms. So all. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
So myself Arunijan. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I am listed in the management title. My presentation is 131 to 140.
Yes, sir. So apologies, I did not mention there will be 4 breakout rooms. One for mechanical civil, second for computer science and engineering and information technology, and third for electrical engineering and electronics engineering, and fourth will be for management.
So, I would like to just confirm, ma'am, just after presenting my paper, whether I have to remain logged in for whole of the conference or I may log out.
So you may log out, or you can even attend the rest of the meetings as well. You can get into mechanical, electrical as per your choice.
As per my choice. No? Whether after presenting the paper, I have to handle the questions of the participants, or is there any procedure?
So there will be questions from the chair who would be heading the sessions. For mechanical and civil, Bharat Chede sir and Deshpande sir will be heading. So depending on you might have to answer their questions.
But it will be during the presentation of paper itself or after paper itself?
During the presentation itself.
Okay. So may I know the ma'am who is the chairing the conference?
So yes, sir. So there are different chairs for different disciplines. For mechanical and civil, we have Dr. Bharat Chede sir and Dr. Deshpande sir. For computer science and engineering and information technology, we have Dr. Hivarkar sir. For management, we have Dr. Janvi Rathi ma'am. And for electrical, we have Dr. Putakli sir, and electronics, Tiguria sir.
It must be mentioned in all this agenda list, na? Conference chairperson.
Sure, sir. We will mention that.
No, is it mentioned there or not?
No, sir. No, sir. It's not mentioned in the agenda.
Not mentioned. So I have to note down while presenting my paper, I have to address the chairperson and all those persons, no?
Yes, sir. So yes, sir.
So I will just please repeat the chairperson's name. In my conference, actually, management chairperson will be present, or all other chairperson will also be present?
No, sir. No, sir. For management, only management chairperson will be present.
Okay. So I have to address the chairperson only, na? Or any other dignitaries I have to address in my starting session?
No, sir. Only chairpersons will be present in your respective rooms.
I have to welcome or I have to greet the chairman only, the chairperson only, na?
Yes, sir.
Any other dignitaries would be present in the?
No, sir. No, sir. Only respective chairpersons will be heading the technical sessions.
And and our conference is being organized by IFSPI, no?
Yes, sir.
IFSPI, right. So chairperson would be
IFERP. Yes. IFERP. That would be, yes.
Okay, chairperson would be Mrs. Mamta.
Yes, sir. And for your management from Wainganga College of Engineering, it will be Dr. Janvi Rathi, ma'am.
Janvi Rathi.
Yes, sir.
JA.
Yes, sir.
N.
JAHNAVI. Janvi Rathi. Yes. Yes.
Chairperson would be Madam Janvi Rathi, no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So while starting my research paper, I have to greet Mrs. Janvi Rathi, ma'am. Dr. Janvi Rathi, no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So it will be 10 minutes presentation, and whether PPT is required or I have to just speak it out.
So it depends on you. If you have a presentation prepared, it would be well and good. If not, you can just present. There won't be a problem.
Sorry for the interruption. This is Ranjan from IFERP. So now the breakout room has been open. Now you can all this. Now you can all.
Janvi Rathi here.
Now you can see all the options, 4 options: mechanical and civil sessions. Breakout room 1 name is. Breakout room 2 name is electrical and electronic session. Breakout room 3 name is CSE and IT session. Breakout room 4 name is business and management session. So you can join as your respective session.
So what do? You click that number, or what? How do you join that session? If you want to join a particular session, do you click that number or you click on that?
So see, you can see my cursor over here, a small hand with a finger pointed at join.
That's right. That's right.
You just have to click in and you get this message, join mechanical and civil session. You have to say yes, and you'll enter.
Okay. So how do I, for example, join a management session? Hello? Hello, you're not audible.
Can you please repeat the question?
Hello.
Hello. So this is Aditi. Can you please repeat the question? Okay, just to make it clear, I'll just repeat it again. There will be a icon of breakout rooms, an option of breakout rooms on your interface. You just have to click that. Then you will find different breakout rooms names like mechanical and civil, electrical and electronic, CSE and IT, business and management session. Respective participants have to click on join and then enter that respective room. Participants, please let me know if you're clear with the instructions so that we can move forward.
Hello.
Yes. We'll once again share the instructions with you all. For now, we'll break for our lunch for 30 minutes and then we'll join the session again at 1 p.m. Thank you.
बिस्किट पुडा देऊ का पार्लेजीचा बिस्किट पुडा आता मग दे माझं Good afternoon, I'm presenting the project video communication. The latest technology to provide a broadband access through the existing host wiring. Then we also communication over the power line, which is a serial communication over 20 power lines to see other than wires. The sequence of full communication anytime protocol can be used serial to serial by we can see the power line.
Good afternoon to all. This is Ranjan from IFERP. So if you have any doubts to move to the respective breakout rooms, just let me know. I'll assign manually. So I'll guide you the total how you can use your breakout rooms. So in Zoom toolbar, you can find breakout rooms option. So there will be breakout rooms option will be there, or else where you if it's not showing beside of share screen option, adjacent to share screen option, then click on more option. 3 dots will be there. Click on that. From there also you can find one option, breakout rooms. Just click on that breakout rooms. Then four rooms will be visible. First room name is mechanical and civil session. Second room name is electrical and electronic session. Third room is CSE and IT session, and fourth room is business and management session. Then adjacent to each room, there will be join option will be available. Just click on that join option, then you will be redirecting to that particular session. Then when you are coming back, if you want to be coming back from the breakout room, then you can leave breakout session, you can select. So everyone clear? Or else if you are facing any difficulties, so one by one you just tell me, just unmute and tell me your name, then I'll assign it manually from my side. Everyone clear with the instruction? In chat box you can Madhu Sharma wants to know the electrical engineering room. So I am Madhu Sharma, I am assigning to electrical session. So just a minute. Madhu Sharma, I am redirecting to electrical session. Yes, you are going to redirect. So anyone is having difficulties, then you can directly you can message in chat box, or else publicly also you can message. Anyone is having doubts, you can mention in your chat box if any difficulties you are facing to join in the breakout rooms.
Welcome to IFERP, a forum where innovations and research interest could be supported and developed, prioritizing our mutual interest. In this video, we want you to dive into our world, giving yourself a clear insight into IFERP. But first, who are we and what do we do? Institute for Engineering Research and Publication, IFERP for short, is one of the world's largest non-profitable professional associations operating under the Techno-Elite Research and Development Association, TRADA, meant for research and development in the field of engineering, science and technology. We are one of the largest professional bodies for engineering professionals in India and across the globe, established in 2014. We extend to every part of the globe, with more than 28,000 professional members and 34,000 student members. Our growing membership at IFERP has led to an increase in members from Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa and the USA, fostering networking opportunities that strengthen ties within and across countries and technical communities. The mission of IFERP is to connect professionals at an integrated platform for growth to divert knowledge and skills towards the sustainable application of professional education and more. And our vision of digitalizing innovation processes through our professional networking services and more has pushed us forward to our achievements today. With our mission to make our academic services reach the top and grassroots level of institutions, we are funding colleges to organize conferences and scientific events, enabling researchers incubated at different areas of our country to directly contribute towards the transformation of India. IFERP simply connects engineers, exchange global innovation, and acts as a bridge between researchers and academics by organizing international conferences, world conferences, faculty development programs, webinars, seminars, providing membership, and more. Some of our conferences include WCASET Malaysia, WCASET Jakarta, ICAESM APU Malaysia, and many more. We've also organised scientific events in association with renowned universities done in the past, with over 28,593 journal publication services, creating opportunities to get your research paper published in high impact factor journals such as Scopus Indexed, Web of Science, Google Scholar Index journals, ESCI, UGC approved, L Compandax, ISI, Chimago Index journals, and many more. To make our operations smoother and more perfect, we have been supported by our associated organisation, Association of Cloud Technologists, Global Association of Nanotechnology, International Association for Big Data Analysts, International Association for IoT, International Wireless Network Association, and World Association for Structural Engineers. We have also worked alongside several clients and partners both nationally and internationally like University Malaysia Sabah, APU Malaysia, UNJ Jakarta, MC University Thailand, Ajman University Dubai, PUP Philippines, IIUM Malaysia, ISU Philippines, FCPC Philippines, WCC Philippines SRM University, Galgotia University, Amity University, and much more government and private organisations in different countries. At IFERP, we believe that there's always a better way to treat professionals, and that is what we do. If you would like to see more or go deeper on IFERP, you can visit our website at www.iferp.in.
Can anybody speak confidently even if they're not born talented? Do you really think that
not an